Hi, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Women of FHSS. Joining us today, we have Gwyn Yukon from Oregon.
Hi, Lindsay. Thank you for that introduction. Like Lindsay said, my name is Gwen. I graduated from BYU with a major in sociology and a minor in family life. Currently, I live in Oregon, and my current employment is with a local DV, so that's the Domestic Violence Organization. I'm an advocate and I help provide services specifically at the University of Oregon School of Law. So there's a domestic violence clinic here where they help train law students on providing services in the civil court, and we help provide free services for low-income clients who are victims of violence. And I was interested in doing this interview because I feel I've gained a lot of advice over the years, and I'm still young in my career, but I have found my footing by seeking help, especially from other women, and I hope I can pay it forward.
Thank you. We're so excited to have you here. How did you know that this is where you were going to end up? I mean, when you were doing your sociology degree, did you know that this is where you would be?
Not at all. I view college as educational and not vocational preparation. And if someone views that differently, that's fine. But I really studied what I did because I loved learning about it, not because I viewed it as this will lead me to a specific career path. I also studied how much each major made and what career paths folks tend to take. And if you look at family and social sciences, they often tend to make more in the long run. They're more likely to get specialized master's degrees or other degrees. And so I didn't let the naysayers hold me back, like, oh, you're going to study something that won't get you a job. So I had no sense of where I wanted to go. I just knew I enjoyed what I was studying, and I got all the experiences in the field with internships or volunteer that I could. And years later, I'm here, and I'm actually going to be transitioning roles within the organization soon as well. And I am thrilled with where I've ended up, but it by no means was planned out.
I'm actually really glad to hear you say that, because I feel like whenever I'm having conversations with students, there seems to be this idea that life looks a certain way and that things are really linear. And so I really appreciate that you said that you valued your education and you did something that you were interested in, but then kind of all these little pieces fell into place along the way for you to get to where you are. I think that that's so crucial for our students to understand. So maybe you could help lead us through. We'll kind of just rewind a little bit and ask, what were the things that you wish you would have known as an undergrad, or maybe even what were some of the things that you experienced as an undergrad that helped prepare you for this really remarkable job?
I wish I would have embraced the ambiguity. And by that, I'm a very linear person. I like to plan in detail what my future may look like and set goals. And because of that, I was very frustrated with myself for not having a 5-year career plan. And it made it so I didn't enjoy school as much because I felt I was failing. Because my first year, I did not declare a major. My second year, I declared one, but I didn't like it. My third year, I changed. So I felt I was failing because I didn't have this clear path. So I wish I had embraced the ambiguity of my life and of not knowing. And instead of being frustrated, tried to embrace the excitement of feeling that your life was just starting and you could go wherever you want and you're not stuck in one path. And to realize that your classes will prepare you for the workforce or for your future, whatever that holds, in ways you may not realize. It helps you work in groups. It helps you stick to deadlines. Just because it may not be a specific vocational training class you're taking, there still will be applicable skills that you'll learn.
I'm so glad to hear you say that too, because I think that that's something that's really a difficult conversation that we have with our students, is that no education is wasted. right? That no experience is a wasted experience. I think as long as that intentionality is there, that can be a really powerful thing. So thank you for sharing that. You talked a little bit about your mentorship process and how there have been people in your life that have pushed you and encouraged you and coached you. So can you tell me a little bit about that process? Like, who have been your mentors, and did you have to be proactive in finding them? How did that work?
Yeah, I definitely think it requires, I mean, there are situations where mentors may kind of fall in your lap, but I would say be proactive in seeking mentors, and I waited too long to do that. In my second semester, I took a study course, and I didn't see how it was relevant at the time, but the professor required us to interview another professor and talk about seeking mentors. And that was the first time I thought about it, but I still didn't really act on it besides the assignment. And I wish I had acted on it because the professors, especially here at BYU, they care so much about their students, and they just don't have time to reach out to every student they may interact with. But if you have questions or you feel like they can guide you in your career or in your schooling, your classes, your major, they have office hours. Like, a lot of students don't use them. Go to their office hours, or even ask them opportunities. I had one professor that it became a job option for me that I got to do my last year just by asking what he thought would be good opportunities for me in sociology. So you never know what doors may open by reaching out. And as an introverted personality, I always hated those first meetings. I don't want to meet someone new and ask them to assist me with something, but it is worth the effort. It really is.
Thank you for sharing that. You're right. There are a lot of professors that are begging us in the advising office, please send students to us. We have office hours. We're here to serve the students. So I'm really grateful that you brought that up. You talked about introversion, and I wanted to kind of get into this idea of other aspects of your identity and how that may have either positively or negatively impacted your ability to move forward with your goals. What have you done maybe to overcome some of those, or what are you doing to become?
Yeah, I want to start answering this question by first acknowledging my privilege. My pronouns are she, her, hers. I am a cisgender, heterosexual, white person. And I recognize that with that, I have a lot of privileges that I didn't do anything to earn. So a lot of my experiences have probably been easier than other folks. But I will say that being a female, especially within the church, I was raised in the church and went to BYU all 4 years. It unfortunately did hinder how I viewed myself in regard to a career. I would say that my mother was definitely a mentor for her. Both my parents have graduate degrees, and my mom has worked since I was younger. But unfortunately, I often saw that as it making our family lesser because my mom didn't stay at home. And so it's been hard for me to overcome aspirational shame and to realize that it's okay that I want to work and be things besides how my relationships define me. Yes, being a spouse, daughter, parent, those are great things in our life, and I still value them more than work. But I can be excited about work, and I can be excited about my career, and I still am working to overcome that. I think it depends on the program and who you're talking with, but there definitely can be a lot of negative associations with women working outside of the home, especially after they have children. And I often felt people didn't care about my career goals because ultimately they saw me as a person that would have children and give up on those goals. So overcoming that has been a slow process of reframing how I view the doctrine of the family into something that is more flexible and is not just about being a stay-at-home mom. And stay-at-home moms are definitely working moms. They work hard, and but that's not a role for everyone. And so reframing that and accepting that's not what I want has been a huge challenge. And the best advice I have is to be gentle with yourself. If you feel you're failing, God loves us, our heavenly parents love us, and they don't think we're failing for wanting to contribute to society. So be gentle, try to talk to yourself as your heavenly parents would. And I think with time you'll come to realize that your aspirations, whether they are more with the norm of your current culture or not, they're good aspirations.
Thank you for being so vulnerable and sharing that. I think that that's a message that a lot of us still similarly have a challenge accepting. And so I had a follow-up question about that, particularly if you don't mind.
Yeah.
What are some of the things that you've done to remember your value and to remember your individuality as a daughter of God? Like what if somebody's grappling with this, what are some very practical things that they might be able to do in order to kind of face some of those challenges also?
I think, again, going back to mentors, find a mentor who has similar ideological stances as you, or like if I had some folks I tried to seek out as mentors, and I felt I got the opposite response of what I was looking for. Kind of, I felt discouraged for feeling how I did. Those aren't going to be folks that will be effective mentors for you. If you can find a mentor that can build you up, and maybe they've experienced something similar, then they can guide you to good resources. And then just more in my personal life, a lot of it comes from seeking out a support network of friends and family who feel similarly. There are definitely people there. I joined the Facebook group Aspiring Mormon Women, other things like that, where you can tell that there are other people with similar interests as you within your same culture. So finding kind of your people to support you, and then also focusing on the core of the church and less on the external supplemental things, which are great, but ultimately your life isn't dictated by what kind of job you have, or if you stay at home. Your life is dictated by loving God and loving others, as well as loving yourself. And so if I find just focusing on those three things when I'm struggling helps the most.
It's a beautiful reminder. Thank you. We talked a lot about your support network, and so I was wondering if you could walk us through what that looks like from home or from work.
Yeah, I would say that at home, it is definitely my family, and my partner is great at being a support person there for me. And as a male identified individual, he doesn't understand a lot of what I feel, and he acknowledges that, but he can still be there to sit with me in those emotions when I may be feeling upset about all of these complicated things we're talking about. And then I would say, I currently work in an office that is actually entirely female. And so that's a great support network there to be able to communicate with my coworkers and be like, how did you overcome this? Or you're a working parent, what's it like? So just asking and being interested in people's lives, especially if you see something in them that you admire or hope to reflect. And then also kind of avoiding maybe folks that cause you to feel guilty or feel negative. There can be toxic people in our communities or in our life. And if you just get that kind of icky feeling after you spoke with someone about, like, I was trying to share how excited I was about my schooling or my career and I got shot down, then I'm not saying to cut off ties with that person, but maybe just avoid those topics with them in the future until you're ready to address it in a positive way.
I like that. I like that a lot. I like how this idea of being cautious too with with relationships and creating boundaries for yourself is a very crucial part of experiencing the challenges and grapples, right? So I really appreciate that, and how you shared what support looks like, because I think sometimes support comes so differently for other people, and I'm sure that the support you're talking about will resonate with some people listening to this. So, well, Gwyn, as we wrap up our conversation, I was wondering if there's anything else that you would want to leave, any advice that would empower our women students as they pursue whatever it is that they choose post-graduation, whether or not it's fulfilling grad school or stay-at-home opportunities or full-time or part-time opportunities.
My main thoughts would be, don't let yourself get in the way of your life plan or life journey, and don't let others get in the way. So first, to talk about yourself, recently I was accepted into a Master's of Public Administration program with a scholarship, and I always had the goal of getting a master's. And I turned it down because I wanted to, but it was very hard to turn it down because I felt I was failing myself. Like, this was a goal I set to get a master's and do it right away. And so don't let your view of your life or your goals get in the way from what you want or what you end up enjoying if your plan goes differently than expected. And then don't let others, if you're feeling guilty or judged for a choice you make, someone's going to judge you regardless of what you decide. So try as much as possible to remove that guilt and shame, and recognize that the only person you're accountable to is you and your immediate family and God, and it's okay if things don't go how you planned.
Thank you so much. I think that was something I needed to hear personally. So I really appreciate your willingness to dive into some things that I think a lot of people are trying to identify for themselves. So thank you so much, Gwyn, for joining us today. And I hope you have a wonderful day.
Thank you. You too. It was so nice to meet you.